Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. I got this figured out, I think. And I'm excited for this. Okay. I know some of you guys are probably not going to like what I'm going to say. If you don't know what we're talking about, this is Amy Hennig's new game. I think it's 2025. And it's basically Captain America and the Black Panther in World War II. And there's also a member of Nick Fury's Howling Commandos. And I think like a behind enemy lines French female soldier or some such. And you play all 4 characters. And I think most people would look at this and think this is going to be an action-adventure game. This is going to be a third-person, Uncharted, Star Wars Outlaws kind of open world or semi-open world action-adventure. I don't think that for a number of reasons, and not the least of which is an interview with Amy that came out. And I'm going to lay out my trail of breadcrumbs. I don't know this for sure, but I want to state my case. I want to argue my case, and I want you to tell me if you think if you think I'm correct in terms of what this is going to be. Okay. But here is her talking. Well, first off, here's what I think it's going to be. Let me not bury the lead there. I think this is going to be somewhere between not as interactive as Quantum Dream games, probably more like Telltale games mixed with As Dusk Falls, right? I think this is going to be very easy for people to play. It's probably going to have co-op where you can sit around with your family and people do different things on their phones and on a controller, so your grandma can play it during Christmas. It's meant to be that kind of thing. And how far they go and what they're able to pull off. I don't think it's going to be just a bunch of quick time events, but I do not think you're going to be able to run around as Captain America and climb and this and that and the other. It might. I don't have any data except the breadcrumbs. Let me share the breadcrumbs with you first, okay? Let's go way back in time. This is even before Amy joined, and I like this, by the way. I get you may not like it, but I like this. I think, listen to Amy's vision. This is her and Tim Schafer talking at DICE a while back, well before she joined whatever this company is, Sky something or whoever's making this. What are these guys called? Skydance New Media. Okay, this is her and Tim Schafer talking like maybe 1 or 2 years before regarding what she wanted to achieve.
But I find myself most fascinated by this feeling like there is a huge shift coming in 2 to 5 years, maybe a little bit longer, where our content is going to be able to reach people a lot more frictionlessly than in the past. And it's going to reach a much bigger audience, and we should be starting to make things for them now. Mm-hmm. And I look at what we've learned anecdotally, the phenomenon that we've seen with games like Uncharted and The Last of Us, and Supermassive Saw is a very similar phenomenon with Until Dawn, where the games are just as watchable as they are playable. And I don't mean like some, Twitch streaming or a YouTube, playthrough. I mean like they are just as entertaining to be in the living room while someone is playing. And it's not that the rest of the people are there as passive observers, they're collaborators.
And some of them are better that way. I mean, like, I thought, I was playing Until Dawn, I thought it was great, and then I played it with a group of people who were all yelling at, what to do, and it's like, oh, this is how you're supposed to play this game.
Exactly, right? And so those of us in the game industry have seen this effect, this phenomenon, mm-hmm. and we're aware of it, but we haven't necessarily embraced it to say, how do we actually make more of that? How do we actually design for that? And understanding that, like, trying to convert people that don't consider themselves gamers, there's so many obstacles for them. Mm-hmm. Are they going to buy the console? Even when somebody else bought it and it's sitting there, do they understand, which input to turn on? Are they intimidated by it? Do they want to touch that, 15, 20 button controller? It looks like a porcupine sitting on your coffee table. It's incredibly intimidating. And then you add onto that the fact that, because we think of gaming a certain way, that we're making things that are, they're difficult, they're a little bit hard to approach. It's about mastery, it's about competition, all these things that, like, a mainstream audience who just wants to settle in and experience a story mm-hmm. don't necessarily want all those things. And so maybe we just, in that sense, you get away from the word game and you think about more like taking what we know how to do and and make these much more accessible experiences for people that would probably welcome interactivity if we made it for them.
Yeah.
Right. Again, everything could have changed since this. This is before she joined as the head of Skydance New Media, right? Okay, but that's the first breadcrumb, okay? The second one is if you look at this interview that just dropped this week with Entertainment Weekly, you know, they just talk about the characters and the settings and all that, but then she has this quote, and I'm reading into this. It may not mean what I think it means, but it was an interesting thing for someone as experienced as Amy to say without meaning exactly what she said. So while Marvel, this is the article, while Marvel can get pretty fantastical, especially when leaning into the multiverse, Hennig notes that their mission is to keep the game as grounded as possible. Here's the line. We're entirely CG, so it's really easy to get ungrounded real quick, she says. You can see even the movies can fall under that trap. Too much CG and you don't know the ground that you're standing on. We really wanted the visual fidelity to be high, so you could kind of forget you're looking at a game, that it should feel and look and sound and smell like you're watching a great movie from Marvel or TV show, but it's you who's driving the action, right? So that, along with what she said to Schaefer, along with if you go to Skydance New Media, this is what they say. Our first productions will tap into the traditions of adventure cinema to create an engaging, energetic experience that captures the spirit of TV and film to excite both longtime gamers and non-gamers alike. By challenging established design dogma and exploring new genres, mechanics, and means of player input, we believe we will see an explosion of creative, interactive experiences that are inviting and appealing to everyone, expanding our audience by an order of magnitude. We've assembled a core internal team of industry professionals who are working closely with external best-in-class partners in every specialty and discipline, right? And then if you go over to LinkedIn, I mean, LinkedIn, they're a really small group, comparatively speaking. I mean, they only have 11 to 50 employees. Now, could they be outsourcing everything? Sure, possibly. And I'm sure they're outsourcing a lot, but I don't necessarily think that you're going to outsource the heart of a AAA fucking video game, right? So here's what I think it's going to be. And I think this is exciting if they can pull it off. I have never seen it pulled off, but I very much like what she is trying to do. And I've been thinking, I want to make a video. I want to get my family to sit around and play As Dusk Falls. If you don't remember, this was a game that everybody could play. You could play it online or locally with your phone. And it was basically, a lot of it was choose your own adventure. But it was also like little mini games and stuff, but it was meant to be something everyone could play and get immersed in. The problem with it is the art style was terrible and kind of gross looking, and the actual story was not really good, right? So I liked what they were trying to do, but I don't think they had the talent to do it. Similarly, the Justice League just launched a game where you basically play like a mini game Vampire Survivors on your phone, and that gives you story tokens that then every week they release a movie or a 20-minute cartoon, and you can vote on what you want to have happen, right? I think a lot of people have tried to merge this, and it hasn't worked. But they have the quartering in the game, that's right, Reefer. But I do think if you've got Marvel, if you've got characters that already work in an art style that people are into, people seem to like the trailer that they've seen. And let's assume, I think they have a comic writer writing this. I could be wrong, but let's assume it's well written. And Amy's not a moron. It's not going to just be like, oh, does Black Panther go left or right? I think, it's going to still be compelling. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be something like, you're going to hate this. You're going to think it's stupid. But if everybody's watching it, suddenly I get a random cue ping on my phone and, oh, I'm Captain America at this moment. Okay, it's a mini game. Spin your shield really, 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 really fast. And then at the right moment, you decide when to throw it. I know. Core gamers are going to go, that's not what I'm looking for. But you guys have plenty of things to play. This is what you play with people who are interested in games, curious about games. They come over for the holidays. They like Marvel. The whole family sits around and everybody can engage. Now, is this what she's making? I don't fucking know. This could be we see it unveiled at the Summer Games Fest or something, and it's like, dude, it's a fucking 4-player, single-player game with 4 characters, and it plays like Spider-Man from Insomniac. I have no idea, but everything. I'm just doing the breadcrumbs, and I do hope she does this. I hope to God she does this, because again, it's not that I wouldn't want to. They're already making a Black Panther game, right? They're already doing a full-on open-world Black Panther game. Some developers doing it, right? This is like going, okay, we're gonna try to. We're gonna, maybe you could even stream it from Netflix. It doesn't sound like it's gonna need a lot of interactive input that has to be immediate. You're gonna be getting Blade, right? You're gonna be getting all of that anyway. So it's not like you're being denied something. So I think the idea of getting a lot of money to take a very beloved IP and going, let's try to bring more people in. I think that's pretty cool. But again, I'm thinking about it more as like somebody who's pursuing the art form or what could we do? Like imagine if that does become the next big form of storytelling. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but that's what I think it is. We'll know this year. I don't know when it's coming out, but I think I will certainly hear more this year. I tried to get my family to play the PS4 phone games for a few get-togethers, says Rob. It was way too cumbersome to get people to get the app to work. Right. All that stuff has to be seamless. You're absolutely right. When we sit around here and play like Song Pop Party on the Apple, half the time it's like, why isn't my phone connecting, right? But assuming they can take care of that, and it's seamless and it just works, I'm excited for this. I want something new. I like when people take chances,